Well, hello friends, and welcome to another Ask Zach. Hope you are doing well today. Today we're going to take a look at the Brent Mason Fender Telecaster and talk a bit about Brent. And the reason we're doing this is, Fender didn't ask me to do this. I'm not being compensated in any way by anyone. This was just something that you, the viewers, the subscribers had asked about this guitar and wanted, my feedback on it. So I called up Fender. I called up Ben, who is the artist rep for Nashville, and I called him up and I said, hey, could I check out a Brent Mason guitar? And they said, yeah. They said, we'd be happy for you to check one out. Said, we're having trouble keeping them in stock. So that's a good problem to have. So it took a little while, and funnily enough, I ended up kind of taking this guitar, took the neck off because I ended up needing to adjust the truss rod. And this guitar is stamped July of this year. So literally this guitar was just made and then it was shipped off. So, so again, thanks to Fender for letting me check this out. Just a quick side note, please subscribe if you've been enjoying the channel. And if you've already subscribed and you've been watching the show, please support it by going to askzach.com. You can pick up a t-shirt or a mug, or, there's tip jar information in the description if you want to do that. So thanks. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Brent Mason. So Brent was kind of in the natural lineage of kind of Nashville guitar players and what was going on. And you had kind of the Grady Martin and Hank Garland kind of thing. And then you had the Billy Sanford and Jerry Kennedy and all these guys in the 60s. And, and then you kind of get on with Reggie Young in the 70s and 80s. And then, and the Brent Rowan. And then you kind of come up to Brent Mason. And Brent Mason, if you had to pick one guitar player that kind of, for lack of better words, terms, was, probably one of the most significant guitar players of the 90s, which was kind of, in hindsight, kind of a golden era of country music when it was at its most popular and selling the most number of albums and things like that. If you had to kind of name a guitar player of the 90s, it'd be Brent Mason. And his career has gone, way beyond that. But, he was, the guitar player that, really kind of made his indelible stamp on that era of country music. And huge influence on me and a bunch of other guys. And just to, kind of show you how much of an influence, I'm going to pick up this other Tele of mine. So this is this is a bit of a mongrel, but this is an old Phil Kubicki body that I've had a B-bender on it, and it has a Danocaster neck on it now. But here I'm going to show you underneath the pick guard so you can see how much of an influence that Brent Mason has been on me. So all through the 90s, I had a middle pickup and a mini humbucker in this guitar. And in fact, after playing this, I think I'm going to put it back that way because I still have the mini humbucker and the Seymour Duncan Strat middle pickup. So I'm going to put this down. All right. So, yeah, so Brent kind of came on in the late 80s, early 90s. And when I was first exposed to him was on a television show on the Nashville network called The American Music Shop. And the regular guitar player on the show was Brent Rowan. And they did a special episode where they were showcasing Mark O'Connor, who was the leader of the band. He had done an album called The New Nashville Cats. And on a number of those cuts, it featured Brent Mason. So all of a sudden there was this different guitar player on the show that I'd never seen before. And he was playing this gray looking Tele with this type of pickup setup, but it had a locking tremolo. It had I think it was a Washburn Wonder Bar kind of thing, and it had a locking nut on there. And he was playing through two PV, like Special 130, transistorized amps. Sounded amazing, and I mean, he just blew me away. And then the next season of the American Music Shop, he was the regular guitar player, and he played, his original 67 that this is a copy of, all over that show. He kind of, because of the versatility of this guitar, and sometimes he would play a Strat, or he might play a Gretsch or something like that, but most of the time he was playing his Telecaster. And, he's told the story, and you can watch the Fender video, or you can watch my True Tone Lounge interview with Brent from a couple of years ago. We did 3 parts, and I think in the 3rd part we talk about gear, and he tells his story. But anyway, he went to a music shop, and he and Don Kelly bought Teles. They ended up swapping them because he liked this one's pattern off of, better. And he started putting different pickups in it and such because he could only afford one guitar, and he needed one guitar that would cover all the bases. And honestly, this guitar really does that well. With the mini humbucker, you can really cover a lot of, kind of Les Paul 335 type things. With the middle pickup, you can get a lot of, Stratty kind of things. And of course you have all the twang. You also have, this instrument has a very stout, kind of authoritative, assertive tone to it. And, it has to do with the ash body. It has a maple cap neck. And then you have these Sperzel machine heads, which have more mass to them. And that kind of adds to the tone because you've got more headstock mass. Then also, you have this heavy bridge, that's, chrome plated brass. And that also is a tone contributor, which kind of, in some ways, takes it away from the doinky kind of vintage thing, but it gives it a more, like I said, an assertive tone. So you got ash, you got maple cap neck. You've got this funny positioning of the string tree that I think was based on, having the locking nut on it back when he had the kind of Wonder Bar thing on there. These are tall vintage frets, which kind of seem like 6105s to me. They feel great. It's got a 7 1/4, vintage radius. The neck, it has that kind of mid to late 60s, feel to it. I have a 67 Tele, and it has the same kind of neck carve, except this is just a little bigger, which I like. I think it's nice that it has a little bit more beef to it. The B bender is really cool, and Darren Vincent, who is one of the viewers of the show and a great player up in Canada, he messaged me and asked me about this guitar, and he was one of the guys that asked about hey, what are your thoughts on this instrument? And one of his questions was, when you take off the neck to adjust the truss rod, will the bender mechanism fall out? And no, it won't. And I found that out because when the guitar showed up, I did have to do a little bit of adjustment to it. And that just kind of, it was coming from California and coming to Nashville. And so it had a little too much relief. And so I had to take the neck off to give it about 1/8 of a turn. And yeah, so that's when I saw the date on there and know the bender mechanism, which I'm going to, kind of try to show that. The mechanism is, a lot of it's on this plate on the back side of it. And so, yes, you can take these screws out and adjust the truss rod, and it won't, the mechanism won't fall out. And while we're here, I'll just say this is the tuning adjustment for the bender. And so that's so when you pull on the bender, this adjusts the stop so that it's in tune. So when you pull up, like in an open position, you'd pull up from a B to a C sharp. And so you would adjust this to make sure that it's in tune. The other adjustment on here, down here, this is the adjustment for how hard you have to push down. And this is very important because you want it to be solid enough to where, when you're playing on stage, you're not going to be putting it out of tune. But you don't want it so stiff that it's not fun to use. I restrung the guitar. It had 10s on it, and I put 9.5s just because I like those strings better. And so, and I did that on purpose, so I'd also have an opportunity to restring the bender, because you can see here the ball end is right here, just to see what it was like, to see if it was difficult. And it's very easy. This is actually a lot easier to use and adjust than my old Glazer bender. So I mean, this is an upgrade from the old mechanism, and very easy to restring. Also, if you get the notion, you can change this from a B bender to a G bender, and that's really cool. So let's say you find out you're just not really a B bender guy. There's like Jeff King and Brad Paisley and other guys are really into the G bender thing, and you can change that out. So that's really cool. Here, I'll play on the bender a little bit, see if I can get this thing hooked back on. It's really smooth, and I would say it's even smoother than my old one, which I thought the old one was smooth. But here. Very nice. Let's talk about the pickups. So, of course, you've got this, mix of pickups. So you've got a Seymour Duncan vintage stack bridge pickup, which sounds fantastic and has no hum. That's another thing you need to think about. This guitar is ready to play in the studio or stage. It's dead quiet and has a ton of different sounds. So it's very cool. I'm trying not to gush over it. It's a cool guitar. So you've got that. Then in the middle, this is what Seymour Duncan started making in the 80s. It's called a hot stack, and they even reproduced the old cover from the 80s that's smooth, because they don't use that cover anymore. They use one that's actually has a slot in it, for the blade to stick out. And this is a good. It's kind of a thinner sounding Strat pickup by the way they have it wired, but it works perfectly for this situation. And then you have this vintage style, mini humbucker that sounds really fat. So let's go through the main pickups, the mini humbucker and the bridge pickup. So I guess you've kind of heard the bridge pickup some, but here's a little more of that. So you got. Then you've got the both pickups. Then you got the neck pickup. Those are great. Okay, then you have the middle pickup that you can bring in as much as you would like. So it works like so. So this is a volume control just for the outer two pickups. This is a volume control just for the middle pickup, and then this is a master tone. And then you have a three-way switch, and the three-way only works on these two pickups. So it's, it might seem a little bit strange, but it's pretty easy to get used to it. And that's what I had on my old guitar all through the 90s. So I'm pretty used to it. This has the addition of a push-pull pot, and when it's in the down position, the middle pickup can be blended in or used. And when you pull it out, it defeats the middle pickup altogether. And that works really well for like having some kind of blended sound, and then you can kind of get out of that blended sound really quickly, because it's not difficult, but it's just, you know, as you blend in that middle pickup, it really starts kind of changing the trebles in a really cool way. It acts kind of like an EQ. And once you kind of get it fine-tuned, it's nice to be able to leave it there. And then when you want to go to a regular, you know, non-blended tone, you can do that by using the push-pull pot. So this is kind of, let's see. So here I'm going to take the back pickup and I'm going to start blending in the middle pickup. See, if you just back it up a little bit, you get one of the sounds that Brent used quite a bit in the, you know, on this Tele. And that's, you know, this, where the bridge pickup is kind of the main sound, but you have just enough of this dialed in to where it kind of smooths out the top end some. And you get this kind of thing, you know. And so if I defeat the blend, you get this. Blended. So you get just a little bit of that Strat kind of phasey thing. And this is what he used. You know, I'm going to turn the chorus on and play this like. If you bring up more of it, you get that. That's full strength on the middle pickup. So that's the most stratty kind of out of phase thing that it gets. You know, which is great for that kind of popcorn stuff that, you know, he did like on Neon Moon. So then let's use some of the other pickups here. Yeah, let's go to the neck pickup. And so of course this is the neck pickup by itself. You can blend in the middle. So that middle pickup, again, it's a great way to kind of change the EQ a little bit and kind of thin out, especially that neck humbucker. And you can also get all three pickups. Here's all three pickups, you know, full on. One little note, this mini humbucker is not potted, and so if you hit it, you will get some noise. So, you know, try to pick away from the neck humbucker when you're playing. Yeah. Oh, I guess also here is the middle pickup by itself, and you can tell it's not really, you know, fat sounding, but it's not supposed to be, and it is useful. So I mean, this is what you have. So that's good for kind of funkier things, like you go. works good for that. Yeah, or any kind of popcorny kind of parts, or when you want to kind of lay back in the mix more. So, yeah. So, I was very impressed with what Fender did here. I thought it was kind of long overdue, but again, kudos to Fender for doing this and for also just doing a great implementation. Also to Joe Glazer for completely redesigning his bender so that it can be a factory installed by Fender. I mean, that's huge. And now, if you want to have a bender put on your guitar, you can have it done quite quickly. Back in the day when I had mine put on, you waited 6 weeks to a couple of months to get it, and it took a long time to do that. These he can install in hours. So, but saying all that, this guitar is $24.99 US, and I have to say it's some people might complain about the price, but it's actually really a deal because just the bender would cost you $650. The pickups would run you over $300. Then to get your guitar routed for a middle pickup and a neck humbucker and have a custom pick guard made and have all this wiring would be another $300 to $400 right there. So, and then also to have Sperzel machine heads and put on. So I mean that's it's actually a really good deal even at $24.99 for all the hot rodding that's done on it. And again, you have the fact that you have a guitar that is completely quiet. It is, you can go play it anywhere and it sounds great, and it's got, a ton of sounds right here. I mean, you can cover, a lot of ground with this guitar. So it's very versatile. All right. Well, let me put it on the neck pickup and do a little more bender stuff just because I like that. Maybe put a little chorus on. Just a sweet sound. I really impressed with what Fender did. So cool. All right, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the Brent Mason signature model guitar, and also I've created a Spotify playlist of Brent Mason tracks just to show his incredible versatility of all his work with George Strait and Trisha Yearwood and Alan Jackson and Brooks and Dunn and on and on and on. So I hope you will check that out. Also, I'll have like a picture of my pedal board that I used today, and maybe some more information and links on the guitar on my website. So if you go to askzach.com, and if you go to the the section that will be on the front page concerning this video, you can check that out. All right. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.